just to say thank you. Thank you for the panel. For us, this process is not from a vacuum. We started in 2016 when we were launched at the World Humanitarian Summit, and very much focused initially on the 25% commitment. And from there, it was, how do we unlock that 25%? And quickly we realized it wasn't just around advocacy, it wasn't around practice reform, but it was around building new solutions. And so we went on a journey for 4 years to try and learn what are the different actors, different local actors doing in different sectors. So we looked into peace building, we looked into development, we looked in community foundations, and we developed a financing strategy. And that financing strategy was, how do we ensure that the system starts to give to organizations, taking into account the capacity and the fact that, you know, we're not homogeneous as local organizations. We have organizations within our network who have $50,000 a year budgets and $60 million a year budgets. So very capable of being able to absorb the resources. And over time, I think we started to think through the sector, what it really needed. And interestingly enough, COVID, I think, kicked us a little bit in our backs and made us realize that it needed actual solutions, tangible solutions, to be able to pilot, to be able to scale. And so we started developing local financing mechanisms. We started in Somalia, and that one's very hyper-focused to the communities and how to get informal groups funding directly during response, but also how to build to an agnostic fund that allows for us to respond to the needs of the communities. In Syria, with the recent earthquake, we were able to work with the Syrian National League Network to be able to get money out the door pretty quickly and develop a fund there. We're working in Nepal and with other different groups. And in 2021, we started, with the support of the Hilton Foundation, a change fund, a global fund that allows us to get money out the door to our members in the beginning while we're piloting this within 72 hours. And the most important, I think, component of that, which we're continuing to learn, is around the governance structure. All decisions are made by our members. We have members that have been elected into the governance structure. They make all decisions of which crisis we should support, how we should support it, how much funding we should give. And they are taking a lived experience to take from the panel that we just had on making those decisions. And from there, we were able to get $1.5 million out the door in 67 days. And you can imagine we would have been able, with that same capacity of volunteers and staff within the Secretariat, been able to get $10 million out just in the first year. And so we're on this path of trying to figure out what can we do, what kind of infrastructure can we build to be able to get resources to local actors and to be able to have proof of concept for bilateral donors and other donors to be able to get resources to local actors as well. Yeah, so I should say, with NEAR being a network of over 280 organizations, it's really important that I talk about, I think, the role that the Secretariat plays. And we play 3 functions. The first function is as a facilitator, the second is as a convener, and the third is as an advisor. And decisions are made by our members. And so when we think about any of our solutions or any of our approaches, we think about it in a collaborative way. And to start, we work similar to, I think, what Christina said and Farouk said. It's not just about money, it's about representation, it's about power. And so we focus on 2 separate areas. We focus on policy influencing and we focus on financing. From the Change Fund and a little bit of what Degan said, we've been challenged by our members. We've been challenged by our members to think beyond one fund. We've been challenged to think reimagining the system. And so what we've been able to do, I think, over the last couple of months is have some really hard conversations with our members, with our partners, with our allies, of what a collaborative networked financing system or mechanism could look like. And for us, there are, I think, a few things that are really, really important for us to stress. And it's a little bit about what Rory just said. It's about agency. It's about ensuring that the organizations who mostly are part of the communities have the agency to make a decision of what kind of funding their community needs, especially in a response. The second is to center everything that we do, I think, around local leadership. We're not going to move towards the 25% without centering local actors within the new system. And then third, I think what we've been able to do, and this is why we purposefully have only taken foundation money in the beginning, is be very flexible and adaptable. To be able to say, here is the criteria, but we should be able to move around, and not from a due diligence perspective, but from an implementing perspective. And so all of those areas that we've been able to learn over the last couple of years would not have happened unless we had members in 29 countries, unless we had partners in 39 countries that felt like they had a voice within the network to be able to say, these are the things that we want to be changed immediately, in the midterm, and in the long term. And that's kind of the ethos and the essence of the way that Near Network works. I don't think more bureaucratic processes are the answer. I actually think that the answer is around contextualization. And I think that we really need to consider certain policies don't make sense in certain places. And so I think we need to think through what are solutions based off of experiences, real experiences, candid conversation, to be able to create solutions. But I think making it harder in the humanitarian system and not focusing on why we started 70 years ago and how USAID or UK Aid or any of these agencies started and why they started, I think is a huge issue. So I think we need to probably historically go back and see why we did this and how we did it in the beginning, and go back to that.